Hey everybody, John Murphy, CSSI. I hope you're doing great. Hey, I wanted to share with you a really exciting tax calculator, financial model that I put together with somebody else who's kind of a whiz at this. I had an idea that I was thinking that, especially for tunnel car washes, because tunnel car washes are considered 15-year class life. So back in the day when it was 100% bonus depreciation, CPAs could just take this if you spent 4 or 5 million on a tunnel car wash, back out the land value and just take the rest of it as bonus depreciation. You did not need to do a cost segregation study, even though I think there's a lot of value in doing a cost segregation study, even with 100% bonus, especially when you're looking ultimately at disposing of the property. You might be able to be able to calculate diminished value. But anyway, I'm really excited about this because I want to show this to you. One of the things I've been thinking about is, as I talk to CPAs and other people in the industry, a lot of people make assumptions that, oh, well, 60% bonus depreciation, there's only 40% left on the bone. There's not enough there to even bother worth studying. And so they don't even get an estimate. And it's hard even for engineering-based firms to give you an estimate, a really specific number, okay, on that 40%. It's a little tricky, okay? I don't have all the answers here. This is strictly a model, and it's based on a hunch, and it's based on some experience, and I think that there's a lot of value here for owners of tunnel car washes. This might also apply to C-stores, but particularly tunnel car washes. If you bought one in 2024 and you're taking 60% bonus depreciation, you want to study the remaining 40% because the remaining 40% is likely roughly split 50-50 between 5-year and 15-year. So you're taking a large piece of your property and leaving it as 15-year when you could put it at 5-year, and so you're leaving tax money on the table. And I'm going to show you exactly what it is that you're leaving on the table. I will say this, I'm not giving you tax advice. You need to talk with your own CPA, your own tax advisor, to make sure this is something that you want to do. I'm going to show you this for modeling purposes only, so you can start to wrap your head around this. Let's take a look at a building, a tunnel car wash. Let's say it was put in service in 2024, 4.5 million. The land was $1 million. Let's say it's $3.5 million in improvements. This is a big income earner, 37% tax rate in this example. I've got an NPV. I'm not going to get an NPV and all that stuff, but let's just talk about the cost seg part of this. We're going to run the model at 45% would be found as 5-year class life, 55% as 15-year class life on this tunnel car wash. It might be that your car wash might be different. It might be 40% or 30%. Most of these tunnel car washes, though, are 45, 50, 55, 60%. And so the model is going to work for you. Actually, this model, I've run this. I'm not going to show this here, but it will go down all the way to 10% and still be of value to you. But let's say this it's at 45%, or let's say ballpark cost for this study is $7,500. I've got 5-year and 15-year diminished values to show you that here in a second. Again, this is for example purposes only, and we believe that we're relatively conservative based upon conversations I've had with other building owners and talking to other CPAs, what they do when they do implement and utilize diminished value when they sell these properties. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We just did the model, $3.5 million, 60% bonus depreciation. So we are studying the balance of that, and the balance of that, right? So 3.5 million times 60%. Okay, so they're taking 2.1 million. We're studying $1.4 million. So what happens is, of course, you got the initial cost. So year one, this is a net negative to you compared to just listening to your CPA and just writing it down in your depreciation schedule as 60% bonus of 3.5 million, okay? Because you've invested now $7,500, this is actually costing you a net of $47.25 in year one. But in year two, you're already positive $36,900, year three, $78,000, year four, $120, year five is where it peaks at $161,000, and it starts to decline from there because you've used up all your 5-year class life, and now you're just depreciating 15-year like you would have before, okay? And if you hold this all the way to 15 years, which most guys don't do, but if they did, all of a sudden in year 15, you're now a negative again, okay? But you had the use of all those tax dollars all those years along. So from an NPV standpoint, it actually is quite significant that you get the tax money now rather than not. Let's look at recapture tax when you go to sell the property. Recapture tax is you're putting looking at a useful life of your property, and because you've got it all delineated and specified on your cost segregation report, you can go through there and figure out a diminished value for property. If you held this property 7 or 8 years, Is your 5-year class life property worth anything near what it was when you first purchased it? Probably not. A lot of the 5-year property has to be replaced or might have already been starting to be replaced. So you can look at putting a diminished value when you sell the property. Again, talk with your tax advisor about that. But doing cost segregation is going to make this a lot easier to do these calculations for you. So you can see you can start picking up again $100,000, $150,000, $180,000, $200,000 in recapture tax savings. And so you end up with a cumulative tax savings on these properties, often $200,000, $300,000. Okay, so all from that roughly $7,500 investment you made in cost segregation on the front end. So it's phenomenal. I think that if you're just taking bonus depreciation and not doing cost segregation, you are clearly leaving money on the table. We now have a model that will show that to you. I'm not aware of anybody else that has this. This is my calculator. This is not CSSI's. If you want to have your particular building, your car wash, your C-store, whatever, run through this model, happy to do it. My name is John Murphy. I work all over the United States. I run a blog at costsegbuilding.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, find me on the socials at costsegbuilding. Happy to chat with you. But this is really unique. I'm excited about this particular calculator. I haven't seen anybody else produce anything like this, and I look forward to digging into your building with you and see if we can save you some money. Take care.